Should I do the review as Clark Kent or Superman? Holy crap, what an amazing movie. I don't know where to start. Today, you're in for a treat. We've got a Superman spoiler review. So this is your warning now. I will spoil this movie. I freaking loved it and I'm not going to be able to stop myself from spoiling it. Alright, well, starters, super hopeful, happy, wholesome movie. Loved the tone of the movie. And I want to put this out there. I'm a huge fan of Henry Cavill as Superman, so I'm not going to be comparing these two. I love both of them in their own respective ways. But it was a really nice change of pace compared to the old DC universe, which I liked a lot, but it never really struck gold like I think Superman did. David Cornsweet as Superman, excellent. He was a great Clark, he was a great Superman, he was kind of nerdy as Clark and super confident as Superman, but I really like seeing this kind of stage of Superman's career. 3 years in, he really hasn't reached his peak yet, so I think it's really cool to see his build up to becoming the best hero in the world. Lois, Rachel Brosnahan was great Lois Lane. They had really good chemistry. Whenever they were together, there was definitely a spark there. Loved all the side characters. Mr. Terrific was a huge bright spot. He was really cool. I like that they fleshed him out a little bit more. And then Guy Gardner was pretty funny, and Hawkgirl was really good. I liked their powers and stuff, but I hope they get more fleshed out in future movies. Also, Metamorpho was really cool. I'm glad they included him in this movie. He was really cool, and I like the actor that plays him. And you can't mention characters without mentioning Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Perfect Lex. I really like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex. I think he was a really good live version of Lex Luthor, live action. But this is definitely the best Lex we've seen on screen. He just had that envy and hatred for Superman, but he was also really capable and smart, which I liked. That they didn't just make him like a kind of a easily defeatable villain. Like, he really gives Superman a run for his money, and I know that that's not the last we see of him. He's going to come back with the vendetta, and he's going to get his revenge. There's no way that that's the end of him. But I like how formidable he was as an opponent. Brain beats brawn, like he said, but he was a great character. Really felt the hatred for Superman, and I have no complaints about him. Another thing I wanted to mention is just how much of a hater Lex is. I love that they just made that such a big part of his character. I keep seeing these movies Lex is a D1 hater. I just love how campy he was sometimes while also being formidable. I think that really helped with the tone. It balanced the movie of being serious and serious threats, but also had some funny moments. And speaking of complaints, I don't really think I have any complaints about this movie besides the fact that I wish it was longer. But I think it was actually a pretty perfect time for a movie. It's about 2 hours 7 minutes. I just wanted more of it because it was so good, but it was definitely really well succinct. Great plot to it. I won't go super in deep with the plot, but basically it's just Lex trying to make Superman look bad. And he's got all these different plans to try to turn the people against Superman, but no matter what he does, he can never really defeat Superman. But I mean, he really does give him a run for his money. I liked all the little subplots, and I liked all the side characters. They had a lot of characters and little subplots, but it didn't feel overwhelming. And speaking of characters, I forgot to mention Krypto. Krypto the Superdog was a huge bright spot in this movie. I'm glad they put him in here. I think it's the first time we've seen live action Krypto, which is crazy. But Krypto was awesome in this movie. I like how he was really powerful, but also just a bad dog. He just would not listen to Superman, so I thought that was really cool. And I liked seeing all Krypto's and Superman's powers. We get freeze breath, laser eyes, super strength, flying. You get the whole display, which is really cool. I loved the suits in the movie. People had some complaints about Superman looking cheesy in his trunks. It's comic accurate, and I think it looked great on scene. I like how bright the colors popped on the suits. The Justice Gang suits were so campy and goofy, but that's kind of on purpose. They're supposed to look like a knockoff, so I like that. Yeah, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific had the best suit in the movie. He had such drip. And then Hawkgirl's suit was kind of lame, but I mean, like I said, it's supposed to be. And then Lex Luthor, always looking sharp. I like Nicholas Hoult bald. He looks really good in that look. And yeah, suits were great. CGI, impeccable. Really like the bright setting scene of just pretty much the whole movie was super bright and in broad daylight, so there's no way they could really hide bad CGI, and it didn't stand out. Nothing really stood out like a sore thumb. Before I get into spoilers, just thought of something else. I kind of just do these videos on the fly, so I'm all over the place. I really like seeing Clark's relationship with his parents. I thought that was a really cool inclusion, and it just had really great heartfelt moments. Clark's dad tells him what you thought the message was supposed to say says a lot about you and the person you are. I thought that was a really heartfelt moment, and he tells Clark he's proud of him, which that really hit home. I started to cry during that, and just, yeah, the emotions between Lois and Superman were really good. I liked how Superman was definitely like emotionally mature and was able to show his emotions, which I think kind of was lost in the last translation of Superman. Not that I'm not making that a knock on Henry Cavill, but we don't really see that emotional side of him too much. And I think that shows true strength and character. Like, Superman's an almighty, powerful character, but he's still got a human side to him, and he's still emotional, and he still messes up. And speaking of his human side, I just liked how he was really hopeful, and he was a symbol of hope for the people, and he was just a great guy, just a great human. He treats dogs and animals like they're people. He values them just as much, and I love the scene where he saves a squirrel from the monster. James Gunn, shout out to him, great director. I still don't think he's made a bad superhero movie. He's the one that did Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, and I think he did Peacemaker, the show. And he's just been great. He's a huge animal lover, so he always includes animals in his movies, like with Rocket Raccoon, and he always pulls on your heartstrings with animals. So I love that inclusion. And yeah, just seeing Superman's human side was awesome, and seeing him just be a truly hopeful, awesome character. It was just really inspiring to watch.
One other thing in edit I wanted to add real quick was I loved how, like, Superman was so, like, wholesome. Like, when he'd curse, he'd be like, gosh darn it, hecking darn it. I thought that was really charming.
A little spoiler, looking forward to the future. Lex goes to prison in Belle Reve, so we'll probably see some Suicide Squad action coming in soon. He's not going to be locked up for long. And what I was saying to my brother is I really hope that he comes back like a little more serious and a little more capable, and like he teams up with some like real supervillains, because he like kind of had his own team that he made, but he really wasn't like partnered up with any supervillains. So I hope he can come back and be like a really formidable villain. I don't think it's the last we've seen him. And then we get Supergirl showing up at the end, which is really cool, setting up the next movie of the DC universe. It is Supergirl, I believe. I think it's out in like a year, so I'm really excited for that. I think that'll be a really cool dynamic between her and Clark. But just overall theme of this movie: hopeful, fun, action-packed, heartfelt. It was just, it just hit it all. I loved this movie. I do give superhero movies a bit of a different rating compared to regular movies, but as far as superhero movies go, this is like probably one of my favorites of all time. I just loved it. And I'm really hopeful for the DC universe. I think James Gunn's got something great going on. I can't wait to see Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg. Who else we got? Aquaman. I think James Gunn's going to do a really great job in this universe and kind of give us the MCU's match on DC's side. So, in conclusion, absolutely love Superman 2025. So glad I saw it as soon as I could. We went and saw it Thursday, so it technically comes out like Friday, but theaters do these like premieres Wednesday, Thursday. Totally worth seeing as soon as you can in theaters. Just a really great theater experience, super inspiring, makes me want to go out there and just change the world. I'm going to give Superman a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys.